This is Dave, the guru, and another tutorial using Gamesalad. This is part 2 of our Amazon developer in-app purchase video series. In this video, we're going to go through creating your in-app purchases on the Amazon developer console, as well as setting them up in Gamesalad. So one of the first things you're going to do is you're going to come into the Amazon developer console under your account and go to the dashboard. And once you've created an application, which you can do in the Apps and Services tabs, once you do that and go through the basic things that you need to do to establish the app, you come in down here and we're going to click on the particular app we want to assign the in-app purchases for. So now we're going to come up into this tab that says In-App Items. And I've got 2 already created, and these are the basic types of in-app purchases that we commonly deal with: consumables and entitlements. So basically, a consumable is something that gets used over and over again, like coins and such. And then an entitlement is something that just gets bought once and turns off ads or unlocks a series of levels or whatever you want to do with it, but it's a one-time, one-shot deal. It's not something that you buy and then it gets used up and you can buy more. It's something you buy once and you can't buy it again. And so basically, you could come down to any of these 2 buttons here and create either or as many as you want of these different types of in-app purchases. So let's go ahead and look at the consumable I've created called Get Coins. And as you can see, I'll just click on the edit button so you can see how it's going to look when you get into it making a new one. You're going to put in a title, which is a required field, and you're going to put in an SKU. Now the SKU is exactly what's looked at or identified in Gamesalad in the specific in-app purchase behavior. So whatever you make this, you want to make it as simple as possible. Now remember, fundamentally, a lot of these servers and systems, as Android as well as OS X and iOS, are built off the Unix environment. In the Unix environment, things like special characters are usually set aside specifically for the software execution in the code, as well as it recognizes the difference between capital letters and non-capital letters. So I always try to keep it as simple as possible to avoid any conflicts. Use all lowercase and try to stay away from special icons and spaces and all those kinds of things. Just try to keep it real simple and real short. Build some kind of a system or an SKU, which is a series of letters and numbers by which you can identify the different things. Nobody sees this, so you don't have to get fancy with it. You can do abbreviations or do it kind of like I did it. So you could put an abbreviation before here for a particular app name. Usually use the the first 2 letters of the app. Like from our game Puckett, I usually use PI, and then I'll put a code in here like ads off or something like that and such, so I can identify it with the app. Make it easy, keep it simple. And then you can also go over here into the availability and pricing, and you can go ahead and set the base list price on this, and basically when you do it, it'll look like this. And then you go ahead and go either it's free consumable or it's not, and then you'll just go ahead and select your currency, and you'll put in what you want. So we'll put 0.99 and we'll hit return, and then we'll go ahead and we'll just save it, and we have our prices now in there. And that's basically all you have to do to set up an in-app purchase. Now you can come in here and you can put in a description in here, which you will have to do. It's mandatory before you publish it out, but just for testing, you can just put a display title, get 20 coins. We'll just go ahead and put something in here. And we'll go ahead and save it. And so let's go back up to the in-app purchases, and we're going to deal with our entitlements. And it's pretty much very similar. And when we get into Gamesalad, I'll explain the difference between an entitlement and a consumable. So you're going to do the same things I showed you. Your SKU, make sure that, you know, it's pretty simple, like I've done here. Adds off, like in the other one. And, you know, same thing with your availability and pricing. Just come in and edit it. And go ahead and say yes. And then put whatever price you want. And then just go ahead and save. Oh, I got to select the currency. And then we'll go ahead and save it. And it's going to put all our little prices in there. And so we have our two setups. I just want to look at this one. Buy coins is what I had. So now let's go ahead into Gamesalad. And I've got two basic actors here. We're just going to initiate a purchase. Nothing fancy. Just for this testing, you want to just have all this set up in your app. And we're just going to display text. I'm actually using a table because you want to make sure that these things are definitely saved, because if the game should quit in the background for whatever reason, if it's inactive, the OS on any devices, Android or Apple devices, when the RAM is getting low, it'll just start quitting off applications that have been based in the order in which they were inactive. So you want to make sure that this stuff is saved someplace. You can either use the save behaviors, or I prefer to use tables. And you can just make sure that you're pulling information from this place. So I've got a adds off, and then I've also got the area where I'm saving how many coins I have. And I would just, if I was doing this, I would just pull that information and deduct that information from a table and not necessarily a game level attribute. So that's where we're saving our information. So right now we're in the adds off portion, which is a non-consumable. So I've got a simple rule here. When touch is pressed, now the product ID is the same as the SKU in here. So the SKU right here is the product ID. This is what we're looking for. So in the other one, it was adds off is what I have. And what I'm doing is I'm changing I've addressed a self attribute, which is called level unlock, or adds off, whatever you want to call it. You can change it to that. And then we don't want consumable checked. And then what I'm doing down here is when this changes to true, once this is done, it's going to write to the table, change it to true, and then save the table. So now that will be permanent. That'll be permanently saved as true now. And I would have a rule in all my ad behaviors that say when it's false, display the ad. So when it's true, it turns off all the ads and they're done. The person has purchased it. It's become true. It's saved as a table. It'll stay true. It can never be overwritten. And then we're all set with all that. So basically an entitlement, which is what this is, we use Booleans to do that, because what happens is, in the software, in this behavior, it'll automatically change the condition of the attribute. So it'll flip it the other way. So if it's true, it would change it to false. If it's false, it would change it to true. So commonly, you are trying to change an attribute using a Boolean for an entitlement. There's really no need to use any other kind of attribute for that other than a Boolean. All right, so now let's go in and look at our. This should be, I'll change this. Let's make this coins. And let me just go ahead and do a quick save. And this is our consumable. So we have the product ID here. And once again, buy coins. These things need to match in all ways. Now we've checked consumable because it's a consumable item. So now what I've got is my game level attribute that I just set up. This could be a table reference or whatever with the current amount of coins that the player has. And then what we want to do is we want to change it to the amount of coins that we're adding to the player. And this is where the value is put for that particular consumable, not in the developer portal or console, but in this area. So for this purchase, for buy coins, we want to give, and you could have buy 20 coins, buy 30 coins. You could have a bunch of different consumables that allows the player to buy a ton of different coins. You would just come back to the in-app purchase items and you would just keep adding entitlements, and you would just change the SKU in there, and you could just put buy coins 20, buy coins 10, buy coins 30, whatever it is, and then have a separate in-app purchase for each one based with the product ID, and then you would add, so if it was buy coins 30, this would be game coins plus 30, so we'd be adding 30 coins to the person's account. And so basically what I'm doing down here is I'm just watching that attribute, and when it becomes greater than the current value in the table, then we overwrite the table with the new value, so that's saved. And that pretty much keeps everything on track. You could actually have this game.coins just constrained to the table value, and then that number would go up and down based on your table, but it would always be saved that way. So this is basically, and we make sure we have consumable checked, and this is basically how we do a consumable. And from doing all that, we're good to go. We've got everything set up in the Amazon test function, and I actually want to go back to that. I shouldn't have closed that. And we've got all things set up in Gamesalad. So let's hide Gamesalad. I didn't think I did that. All right, so let's go to my history, and let's go back to the developer portal. Now what we want to do, once we've got all our stuff set up in here and we've added all the relevant information, what we're going to do is we're going to come over here to this tab, and we're going to download this JSON data file. And so basically we've got this JSON data file, and this is what we're going to use for testing our device. So this is going to be a code output in JavaScript that is going to allow us to basically match the information that we've put into the developer console with what we have inputted in Gamesalad. Amazon doesn't have an elaborate sandboxing system like Apple. We have to do the testing basically remotely. So we need this JSON file, and we'll take a look at it. So it's just basically some, let's do a hard wrap here, and that we can see the code. There we go. And so basically we've got our basic information in here of what all these things are, and in this basic JavaScript setup. And then what we're going to end up doing is we're going to end up installing this on the device or emulator, and we're going to use the Amazon, in conjunction with our app, we're going to use a program called Ellipse that comes with the full Android developer package. And we're also going to use the Amazon testing app, which if you use the emulator, it comes pre-installed. If you don't have the emulator and you want to use a device like I do, you'll need to install that on the device. And I'll show you where that is in the next video. So anyways, we've got everything set up. We've got our app ready. I showed you in the first video how to publish out your app. Make sure you sign it with the same key store that you use to create your security profile. And then we're going to go ahead and take the publish file, which I have here, and we're going to go ahead and install that on the emulator, install the JSON file, and then we're going to go ahead and execute our test. You can find me on the forums under the name Lost Oasis Games. This is Dave, the Guru. I'll see you in the next video.